Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are going to be watching the video from. This is your friend Okoyemi TV in the School of Learning and Development. I do hope you are having an amazing time today. Okay, all right. So today, I'm going to be walking you through on how to remote into the Linux environment from the Windows uh, PowerShell. Okay, so which is like a complete SSH. Okay, so how to remote into your Linux environment, and this time around, once you remote into your Linux environment, you have access to uh, the terminal to make use of. Okay, the terminal. So, and we all know that the terminal is also known as a terminal emulator. Is a text-only window that emulates a console in a graphical user interface. Okay, so now I think my last video, I think I taught you how to install your Linux environment, how to install your Linux on the Hyper-V. So I do hope you are able to do that, and if you have not done that, just check on my YouTube channel. You will definitely see that video there, and I can also put it in the description. You'll find that I'll put a link in the description where you can also follow and see how you can install your Linux on your hypervisor environment. Okay, so now this is my Linux. So I'm just going to log into my Linux environment. 1 second. Okay, the password is wrong. All right. Okay. So this is my the Linux environment. Okay. So this is my Linux and this is the graphical user interface. Okay. So I want to see how we can remote into this Linux environment. But this time around, we are going to be making use of the terminal when you are remote into maybe where you need to maybe write some command line and thereabout. Okay. So you can able to do that. Okay. So to be able to do that, to be able to remote into your Linux environment, there are some things you need to take note of. First of all, you need to install the SSH server. Okay, so you need to install the SSH server. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. And then once you install that, you check to confirm to make sure it is running. Okay, and then if you want to also remote into your Linux environment, you can also use the putty. Okay, the putty can also be used for that, but this SSH option is the most secured one. Okay, which so when you remote into it, so you only merely have the terminal access. Okay, where you can run command, or maybe probably you want to do one or two things. Okay, so that is basically what you can able to do. All right. Okay. So now this is my PowerShell. So you can see I have my PowerShell open on my system. This is my PowerShell environment, and then this is my Linux environment. Okay. So first thing first, what you need to do. So you come up here. Here I'll come to my Linux environment here. I'll now go to activities, and I will type terminal. I'll bring out my terminal. Come up here. Now, once you bring out your terminal, like I said, first you need to install what the SSH server. Okay, but before we install the SSH server, there's something I want to do. Okay, now if I come up here and I try to remote into this my Linux environment via this PowerShell and without installing the SSH server, okay, it's going to reject such so it's going to reject it. So you must make sure that you actually install that your SSH. Okay, so to be able to do that. Okay, now so but before I do that, I need to know my IP address. I need to know the IP address of that my Linux server, and I also need to know my user. Okay, so before you do that, so you come up here on this your terminal here. Once you open your terminal, let me just enlarge it. So you open your terminal, you come up here, then you now type IP address. So this is the command for that. Okay, so it's quite different when you are using Windows. Okay, so you press your enter. So when you now press your enter, you can come up here. You can see here, this is my IP address. Okay, so this is the IP address of that Linux. Okay, so I've known the IP address. That's one thing I need to know. And then the next thing, I want to know the username of this machine. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I will type who am I, and you press enter. So you can see now it's telling me the username. You can see now this is, so I need these two in hand to be able to uh, do that. Okay, so I need it. So like I said, if you don't install your SSH server and you just try to come to your PowerShell and you type the command to remote into your Linux, it's going to reject it. Why? Because the server has not been enabled. Okay, so first thing first, I need to do that. So to be able to do that now, I'll come up here. So don't worry, I think my next video I'm still going to talk about command. Okay, so I'm just going about command line in Linux environment. So here I will come and now type sudo apt. So that apt simply means advanced package tools. Okay, so sudo apt, and then come up here and say install space open SSH server. So, and then one thing you should also take note of, that Linux commands are they are case sensitive. Okay, so they are case sensitive, where you are meant to, if you put it in capital letter, it's not going to work. Okay, so there are some you put in capital letter it will work, some you put it in lowercase to work, but just take note that the Linux command are very sensitive. And then I also have a blog where I talked about making you to understand basic history about Linux. So it's always good to also understand that. Okay, so I have a blog right on my website. So you can go on my website, which is www.yemtechit.com. Okay, so you can see that. So like I said, this year I'm going to be doing more content on Linux. Okay, so that, yeah, so for a change. Okay, so that's for that. So now once you type this particular command here, what you need to do, the next you need to come up here and press your enter. But if you don't type this and you just go straight and you are trying to remote into this, it's going to reject it. Okay, so make sure that this is the first thing you need to do. Then I'll now press my enter. Now when you press your enter, because of that sudo, so it's going to ask you for the password. Okay, the password that might show you. Enter your password. Okay, so put in your password and you press enter. So make sure the password is correct. Oh, okay, I think my password is correct. It's wrong. Uh, this password at times is case sent. So enter. All right. Okay. So now it is saying that reading package done. You can see building dependency tree done. Reading state information done. So the following package. So now it's not asking me, say after this operation, those additional steps will be used. Do you want to continue? I will now come up here and type my yes. I think yes, you press the enter. So once you do that, and then it will now start progressing for you. Okay. So once it's finished, it will definitely notify you. Okay, so let's give it a, okay, done. I think it's done now. So now once it's done now, then I need to be sure if this is actually running. So to do that, you now come up and I say sudo space system ctl space status and put SSH, enter. So once you do that, so you can see that now, you can see SSH service, you can see now, you can see it's active, it's running. Okay, so it's active, it's running. So now I can now remote into my Linux environment, okay, using my PowerShell. So I'll just go to my Windows machine and then open my PowerShell and then also run the command. So don't forget that the first thing we took note of the name of the machine and the IP address. So if you come up here, let's go back up there where we actually did that. Let me scroll. I need to scroll back up. So So scroll back up. Okay. So you can see that this is the IP address of that machine, and this is the name of that machine. Okay. So now I now need to now come up here, open my PowerShell. This is my PowerShell. My PowerShell is open already. So now once you open your PowerShell, so you now come up here and then type, you come to this place here, and then you now need to type your command to be able to remote into your Linux environment. Okay. So what I need to do, I'll come up here, I'll put SSH space. That username we saw there, it was Yemtech, Yemtech IT Lab. Then you now come up here and say at, sorry, at. Now I'll come up here and then look for what's the IP address we saw. Let me go back to it now. So this is the IP address of that machine. I'll come up here, I can copy it. So I'll come here and then I can just paste it. Just hope it to paste now. Okay, let me just type it out. I'll say 172.28.6.66.250, and then I will now press my enter. Okay, so you press your enter. Okay, now when you press your enter, now it said the authenticity of this host blah blah cannot be reached. A fingerprint key fingerprint is SSH, so blah blah blah. So now he said, are you sure you want to continue this thing? Yes. I will now come up here and now type yes. Type yes. So once you type your yes, now it's going to ask you for the password of that Linux. Okay, you can see now, you see it now. So I'll type the password of that Linux. Okay, so come up here, I'll type my password of my Linux VM, enter. Hopefully I'm correct. Sorry, I need to type the password again, enter. Now, so now you can see that now I'll be able to remote into my Linux environment. You can see here now, you can see now this is that name. Okay, can you see now Yemtech IT Lab at Yemtech IT Lab virtual machine, which is this my Linux environment here. Can you see that now? This my Linux. No, you can see that I'm now accessing what? The terminal. Okay, so now I can do it, but you can see I'm still using my PowerShell. My PowerShell I'm using, but you can see here it has changed here. So now, how do I need to know that? So from here, you can come up here and do whatever you want to do. Let's say I want to do my SL command. You can see now it's showing me this. Okay, so now I'm just going to create a folder. I'm going to make a directory so that you see if it is working or not. Okay, now I'll come up here. I'll say mk directory. I'll come up here space. I just want to create a folder. Uh, so this is just the folder. So I'll now press enter. Okay, now this folder has been created. I'll now come up and say ls. That ls has to be in small letter. Enter. So you can see the folder I just created. Now can you see that now? So now if I go back to my Linux environment, come up here. My Linux. I come to the desktop here now. If I come up here, let me minimize this. If I come up here, no, ask me this. I don't want to upgrade. No. So if I come up here, click on open this my directory files. If I come up here, you can see that this is the folder I just created now. So you can see that now. You can see I've created this folder. So you can see that I didn't do it straight away from the graphical user interface, or I didn't come up here. I simply did what remotely using this my PowerShell. Okay. So here I can come up here. Let's say I want to create a multiple folder at once. Okay. If I want to create, let's say I want to create like a 3 folder at once. Okay. Multiple folder at once. So to do that, you come up here, you now say make directory, which is mk directory space. One of the folder I want to create is DevOps. Let me just say DevOps. That is one space. Another folder I want to create is stage. I just want to call it stage file. Stage files, then space, and the last folder I want to create is production. Let me just call that production. So you can see that this one now, I'm simply trying to create 3 folders at the same time. Now press my enter. You can see it. So if I put my ls here, you can see it's going to show me that those folders have been created for me. Now let me go, let's minimize. Let's go back to our desktop. Come up here. You can see. You can see this is the folder. This is stage. You can see that this is production. I can see that this is DevOps. You can see that. So I'm doing this just to show you, to let you know that I'm actually remoting into my Linux environment, but I'm not seeing the graphical user interface. I'm not remoting, I'm remoting what? Through the terminal, okay? The terminal. So now the next one I'm going to do now, let me create if I want to create a nested folder, okay? I want to create a nested folder. Now I can come up here. Let's say if I come up here to create a nested folder, you come up here and I say mkdir space -p, okay? Space. Now I can say, okay, parent, then give it a /. Here I can now say force. Let me just, I'm just trying to create a folder, so it's not like it's a command I'm running. I'm just creating a folder. Then space, and then the last one I want to create as, let's say, assignment, and now press enter. You can see that now. So this one is that try to create what? A nested what? Folder. So if I come up and say ls, enter. So you can see that the folder has been created, parent picture. So let me show you what that nested folder simply means. Now we're going to minimize, go back to your desktop environment, graphical user interface. Now if you come up here, now this is the folder here. This is parent, okay? If I open this, so inside parent, I have another folder called post open file. If I open this one again, and I have the last folder called what? Assignment. Okay. So this is known as creating what? A nested what? Folder. So that -p, allows you to do that. Okay. So I'm just doing this just to show you that I'll be able to successfully what? Remote into my Linux environment via what? My PowerShell. Okay. But I'm only having access to what? To the terminal. Okay. So everything I'm doing here is reflecting in my Linux. If I go to my graphical user interface, I will definitely want see all the commands I'm running. Okay. So this is how you can actually what? Remote into your Linux environment. Okay. So using what? The SSH, the SSH. Okay. And you know that when you are trying to remote into it now, it's opening a port called port think 22. Okay. So now that allows you to be able to do that. Okay. So I do hope this video you have found value for this video. If this is your first time of coming across this video, I just want you to click on the subscription button, like, share, and comment. And I want to appreciate all my subscriber. I do hope you are enjoying my new content for year 2020. I'm still going to come back to Microsoft 365, okay? But like I said, this year, if you don't have this Linux skills, is something that you should have, okay? I do encourage, and that's why I'm doing like a beginner level, okay? So my next video, you're going to see my next video, which I'm going to be talking about the commands and then other things. Okay. So I do hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you once again for coming through. I remain your friend Okwemi TV in the School of Learning and Development. I do hope you have an amazing day, an amazing time wherever you are. Thank you, and I will see you in some other video. Bye bye for now.